Wow, we made it.
Finally.
A knee slapper, for sure. What an adventure that was.
If you guys would have seen, I mean, we would have the best blooper reels.
We would.
If you could see the behind the scenes of us trying to go live just now. Sorry for the wait. If anyone is waiting, I don't know that anyone's waiting, but that's okay.
Not that cool.
That's all right. But hey, happy Friday anyway. Welcome back to another fun-filled episode. This is episode number 69, and we are talking about, we're still talking a lot about planning for 2021, because it is just around the corner. It's going to sneak up on all of us.
Finally, right?
And what a decade 2020 has been.
Woo! Already got off to start with a big bang.
So we've been talking about putting a marketing budget together in particular over the past few episodes. So if you go back like 3 episodes, you'll see that we started talking about this, and we've kind of pieced together some different information along the way. But today we're going to kind of shoot off from that a little bit and talk about goals and how to set goals that will drive growth in your organization in 2021. And we're scroll down a little bit.
We're looking at our notes.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about goals and help you figure out, what's going to help you like really determine what you need to achieve and what that looks like in a budget.
I'm really glad you finally got there.
Oh my gosh, it took a minute.
The whole live situation obviously threw us off our game a little bit.
It did. It definitely threw me off.
That my allergic reaction to something anonymous we don't know.
Kara started having an allergic reaction earlier to something in our office. So we've moved up front, which we like to do our Fridays up here anyway because of the lighting and everything. But she's getting better.
My face doesn't feel like it's gonna explode, and I can breathe out of one nostril. So
that is
progress. We'll get some Benadryl. It'll be all right.
So we're gonna, we'll take a lunch break and we'll get her some Benadryl. Don't worry, friends and family.
So
watching
sorry
this.
if I sound really weird. I apologize.
It's something allergy-wise that she just picked up.
Bringing it back.
So reining it back in. Welcome. I just thought we'd take a couple minutes to blabber until we have some viewers. We have a few people hanging on now. So hi everybody. Thanks for watching. If you are excited to set some goals for 2021, we are too.
Yes.
We're here to help you with that. So when we're talking about marketing goals, we need to consider all of our marketing. And I just, as a kind of a refresher, want to talk about some marketing efforts that I feel like get kind of brushed under the marketing goal rug a little bit. We don't think about them because they're kind of maybe things that we do.
They're either things that are something that
not necessarily like a part of the regular routine,
or they're too complicated, so we sweep them under the rugs. We're like, oh, we'll worry about that later.
Right.
She should not do.
So we're talking about when you're putting your marketing goals together in your budget, thinking, just writing down every single last marketing effort that might include, not just social media, but specifically about social media. What did you do? Were you doing any advertising on social media? Were you doing any influencer marketing? Do you have someone creating content, taking photos, writing captions? There's so much to it. Sorry, someone just pulled up and beeped their alarm outside.
Sorry, I have the door open so I can breathe. I need to breathe.
Monica's watching. Hi, Monica. And so in that same realm, we just, this is kind of just a refresher of like when you're putting these things together, all the different things to think about. So websites also, there's like these little like nuggets and pieces of websites. So not just having your hosting and your SSL and your domain name and all of that,
right?
But are you having anyone build landing pages for you or update your site at all?
Are you paying someone to do maintenance? Are you paying for SEO work? Are you paying for specific pictures to be taken for your site?
So there's a lot of different aspects to think about when we talk about our goals, but let's just go ahead and dig into the fun goal setting stuff. We just want to get you in the right mindset for that, though. So when we talk to clients about setting goals for their marketing, we have 4 questions that we generally ask them. The first one is, what's your overall business objective for 2021? Like,
Ooh, hefty.
that's a big deal. So that is a big one. And specifically when we're talking about objectives, I want you to just write down, what is the number one thing that you want your company to achieve next year? I'll give an example of what this might look like. So let's say Create Captivate, we've kind of we're starting to really establish a community and good relationships here in the Hampton Roads area. And now maybe for 2021, what am I thinking? Do I want to expand throughout the rest of Virginia? I mean, we have clients across the country, across the globe, but like a deliberate expansion. Ooh, that's exciting.
It's the next step.
So that might be the number one objective, is to establish a presence throughout the state of Virginia.
Yeah.
And
that brings it into number 2, which is, how does that align with your marketing efforts?
Yeah, so this number one objective, we want to align that with all of our goals and make sure that all of the goals that we have set get us to that point of achieving that objective overall. On a side note, that objective really needs to be shared with everybody on your team. Because I was thinking about this as I was planning this Friday out, and I was thinking about it and putting it together. I was like, oh my gosh, this is my goal for 2021, but it's only in my head. And what good does that do if I don't share it with all of you?
Right. Well, it's also been scientifically proven. If you actually speak it out into the world and you write it down, it's going to make efforts.
And if you share that with your team, and I'm talking like, okay, so our employees, our freelancers, maybe we have an intern next year. We'll see. Like there could be an array of people involved. Everyone you hire and work with should know this is the main goal we're going towards, so that they can focus their efforts and help you achieve that. So when you're aligning that with your goals, it's going to really help you prioritize your goals, and it's going to determine a lot of those questions about where are we putting our marketing budget and our limited dollars.
What should we be focused on? What should we pull back on? What do we need to make an extra effort for?
Yeah. So that leads us to question number 3. And this is when you have those 2 things figured out and written down and documented. Then moving on to question 3, like, what are those actual goals? So if you've ever been to a Biz Tools workshop or worked with us, we want you to create SMART goals. So your goals need to be specific. They need to be measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. And we do have some handy-dandy worksheets that spell that out and help you kind of break each individual goal down into the SMART. So we can share that. Oh, what did I just do? I hit a button. I don't know how to work her computer.
I have a Mac, people. It's not that complicated.
Over here. I just went down. Whoops. Okay.
You just take 2 fingers
and you slide.
Scroll. Yeah, you slide.
Okay.
We're also doing apparently a tutorial today on how to use my computer.
So scroll some more so I can
just nudge me.
See it? I want to see that next section, please. Also with goals, most people are going to think about goals in terms of short-term and long-term.
What we learned in elementary school.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If that works for you, that works for you.
Keep at it.
However, I have an alternative way to think about it, and this is what works for my brain personally. So I because in my head, when I talk about long-term goals, it puts it kind of in an abstract form, and it's hard for me to wrap my brain around it. It's like, it's too far away. I'm not going to be focused on it all along the way. It's I don't know. I don't like the words long-term and short-term goals. I like to think of them as like, and this is my own kitschy way, but like a mega goal and a mini goal. So my mega goals are maybe the four biggest things that I want to accomplish to get me to that number one objective. So you can kind of think about this in like a hierarchy, like an organizational chart might help. So you have your number one objective written up top, and then you break it down. I like to do in 4 because I do everything on like a quarterly basis. That's how my brain works too.
Business way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I go by the seasons.
So then you break that down into 4 mega goals. And then you may have below each of those 6 to 8 mini goals that can be spread out through each month. And those are your goals for the month.
Now, for some people, like me, that sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
But if you map it out and you plan it out, and something that we do is we schedule it out. So we specifically schedule time and put it on the calendar and block it out and say, this is the day and time that we will be working on this. Or we'll be talking about it. Or we'll be overlooking it and trying to figure out, did we accomplish this? How do we accomplish this? Etc.
So what did we achieve? What did we learn? What would we do different? But it's on the calendar every month. Just to adapt that because, I mean, you can throw down all the goals in the world, but if you never know what's going to happen, so you may need to adjust them a bit as you go. And we'll talk more about contingencies here in a little bit. Another pro tip, don't be like me and try and chase too many goals. That always, so goal overload always results in ineffectiveness.
What's the
and
saying?
Underachievement.
There's a saying.
We don't want that.
It's like if you put your hand into too many things,
Too many pots.
you're going to give only 30% or something like that. But if you put...
That's a great saying.
I don't know. Well, I don't know what the saying is. If anyone knows the saying, put it in the comments below. But you know the saying we're talking about.
Yeah.
If you're
Well, we
doing
get
too many things,
the general concept.
you're not
It's
giving 110%.
Yeah. So what we recommend for this is if you're having a hard time, which a lot of our clients do, and we've done some of our workshops, like our content plan-a-thons and things, where we've been doing a lot of goal setting, it can be really overwhelming to think about, all the things that you want your business to achieve in marketing sense. So write them all out, and then we can prioritize them. If you think about them in those terms of like the big mega goals and the mini goals, that can help you figure out what fits into what place and it should all just point up to the top of that pyramid with the overall objective.
And if you need to map it out. Grab a sheet of paper. We use a whiteboard. We have a giant whiteboard.
Lots of scribbling going on.
You figure it out. Mind mapping.
So once you have those goals all documented, they're all smart, they're all concise, they all make sense as being a part of achieving that number one objective. The fourth question we ask is, what contingencies do you need to put into place?
Because life happens.
Life does happen.
COVID happened.
Woosa, did life happen this year, and it threw all of us for a loop.
Yep.
So I think it was a lot of really hard lessons to learn. But hopefully it's taught us that adaptability is survivability. And that contingencies are absolutely crucial as we move forward. So in marketing terms, marketing used to be really just kind of like, I'm going to make my marketing plan, I'm going to set it, and it's going to go, and it's going to be a thing, and I can forget it.
I think also it used to be, okay, am I putting money into ads and print work or no? And that was it. It's very different today.
It is a lot different today. It's no longer a set it and forget it mindset. And we want to make sure all our people are making sure that they can handle
prepared
whatever 2021 throws their way.
We want to bring you not only more business, but good business.
So with that in mind, what are the considerations or contingency plans that you need to put in place? So I will give an example of one, where we needed to have contingencies in place and we didn't. We scrambled and we made it work and we adapted, but it was not an easy move. So that our workshops, we used to do in-person workshops. Last year I did 2 a month throughout the whole year. It was a lot, but those workshops, I allocated all of that money to paying rent and paying employee, like paying Kara and
Equipment.
for upgrades and all of that kind of stuff. So when COVID hit and we were no longer having our workshops in person, I was like, what am I gonna do? So that was an uncomfortable point, but thinking back, I used to write those, like a list of 100 things I wanted to, like 100 goals I wanted to accomplish every year. One of those goals that I always wrote down every year but never made happen because I was flailing through trying to just achieve something was taking those workshops into a digital format. But COVID forced that to happen.
Oh yeah.
But it's been awesome, and I love doing the digital format.
More people are able to join, and people from different areas.
Yeah, and so that helps with that number one objective of expanding a little bit, expanding our audience a little bit. So there are kind of three things that I always like to keep in mind when life or business gets a bit bumpy, to kind of stay grounded and make sure that, goals are great, but sometimes you just need to be in survival mode. Like, I think back in March when everybody was like, what is this? We don't know. Like, what are we going to do?
How do we adapt? What are we going to do? Are we going to be able to stay alive?
So 3 things to keep in mind in that respect.
Business, not people.
Who are your most loyal customers? Got to know who those people are. Number 2 is, how can you keep your customers happy and engaged? One hard thing I've learned over the years that you've probably heard before, but I tend to learn better when I learn the hard way, is it is much more expensive to acquire a new client than to keep a current client happy and doing well and coming back for more and more work. And then number 3 is, where are the new opportunities? Where's the innovation? What weird thing can we throw together that people might like?
Or they'll bring a new loyal customer around.
Yeah. So those are kind of the 3 contingencies we keep in mind. But just to recap, if you're just tuning in, I see we have a few new people watching. We have 4 questions when we're talking about growth driving goal setting. And the number 1 question is, what's your number 1 objective for your business overall? Number 2 is, sorry, I just got really distracted by this lady who's parking out front, and it looks like she's about to hit the car next to her.
Well, the other person had parked.
Can you scroll back up?
Yes.
So I can see number 2. I want to just read through the list real quick, all the way up to the top list. Number 2, how does that number 1 objective align with your marketing goals or your efforts? Number 3 is, what are those goals? And number 4 is, what contingencies should you put into place? So that is our talk on goal setting.
Yes.
I hope it gets your wheels spinning in a good direction. If you want to scroll all the way to the bottom.
Get your goals.
Get your goals written down. Document them. Only 14% of people actually write them down, but you are 10 times more likely to achieve them if you write them down. There's science behind that.
There's just science between writing it down and putting it out into the universe. I mean, it takes, less than 5 minutes to write it down on a piece of paper. Keep that in a journal. Keep it in your agenda. Write it and put it on the board.
And don't just keep it to yourself. Share it with your team. Share it with your freelancers. If you're hiring us to work with you in your business at all, we need to know, what's that number 1 objective, and what are those goals that you need to achieve.
Yeah, let us help you get there. And there's something to be said about putting it out there and also getting accountability for it.
Absolutely. So I hope this little mini series over the past few weeks has helped you set a realistic marketing budget, and it's giving you some insight and tools and resources that you need. As I spoke about last week, the only thing to do from this point is, once you have this all documented, is to assess that data and analyze it over and over and over again. Make sure that you schedule in time to go back to it and make sure that you're adapting as you go. And make sure that it's doing something for you. Your marketing should drive revenue for you.
Drive results.
It should bring you more money to your business or organization. And if it's not, maybe you don't fire someone who's doing your work, but maybe you just reassess and you say, well, like, what else can we do? How can we refresh this, revitalize it a little bit? Like, what are we missing here? So stay tuned. Next week, we're actually going to go in a little bit of different direction. We're going to talk about marketing funnels.
Vast conversation.
Oh, that can get real deep, but we're going to try
to contain it and make it bullet point style. If you have any questions about those, then we can go down a deeper route.
Yeah, so let us know if you have any questions about your goals or
share your goals. If you already know your goal,
let's hear
share
it
it below. What was your 2020 goal? Did you hit it?
Yeah, what was that number one objective? Did your marketing get you there? How can what can we do to help? Yeah. So let us know in the comments below. We'll see you next week. Everybody have a lovely Friday afternoon and a great weekend.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.